What's up, comic and pop culture fans? I just arrived at the antique shop, and waiting for me looks like someone walked in the other day with a small box of comics. I'm going to take a look at this live with you guys to show you exactly how I would take a look at something that walked in the shop, and I'm going to call them and we're going to make an offer with you. Let's get to it. So first things first. Overall condition looks like nothing is bagged and ported. I rarely expect that, so that's normal and fine. So we've got Dennis and the Menace book. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, this stuff, despite being from 1958, that's better than the 60s stuff. I'd probably sell that for $1. Okay, so already we're talking about $1. So it means, what am I going to be able to give him in order to make that worth our while? Let's keep going, maybe. Now, normally 12-cent Action Comics can go anywhere from $10 to like $30 for non-key stuff like this. Sometimes even $40, depending on the condition. Obviously, this one is in horrendous condition. We've got it's barely attached. It's held on by some old tape. I already know this off the top of my head. This is not a key. So normally when I get stuff like this, Silver Age stuff with glaringly terrible issues, once again, I'd probably sell it for $1. Some random classic X-Men. Unfortunately, in this condition with these spine ticks, this is just a poor condition, nothing comic. This one's bulk. I actually wouldn't even make an offer on it. And unfortunately, it looks like same with this one, which is too bad because this is one of those Batman covers I really like. You got Two-Face passing judgment on Batman. I always thought it was a cool cover. And this book, raw in superb high grade, I've seen go all the way up to like $8. But you know what? We're barely attached here. Looks like that might even be a new staple just thrown in there. I don't even know what I'm looking at. This is rough, guys. I think that's another one that's not even going to go for $1. Okay, so we got some Brave and the Bold here. We're off to kind of a bad start. There is a possibility that I give this guy a call and tell him, I'm sorry, and none of it can work. We got Brave and Bold 170. I do not believe it's key. Once again, we're in rough shape. It looked like we got a staple added that was not part of the original comic book. And so that's going to go in the nothing pile. Could be our first real book here. We got a Batman annual. I don't remember 5 being a key. I will double check, of course. So it is not a key, folks, but what it is a very early Batman annual. Looks like we're talking about 1964 Batman annual. This is going to be wanting to fit in a giant-sized bag. That actually, and maybe I will even toss that in the press because it's got a spine roll. That is a book I would make an offer on, frankly. After I'm done with the press, from eBay and online, I didn't even see anything under $30. So I would probably price this at $20. So we've got $22 right here so far. Now, I know what this is without having to look it up. This is actually the first appearance of Ziggy and Zaggy. Unfortunately, we got a little Zig and Zaggy down on the corner here. It's not a wildly valuable key, and in this condition, it's not going to help it too much, but it is something, and therefore, an offer will be made. This book right here, let's go over. I typed it in on Key Collector. They're saying that very low grade is probably going to be around $8. I'll double check it on eBay, but that sounds about right to me. This isn't very low dirt of the low grade, but it is on the lower side. Obviously, there's things I can fix, but is it that worth it? Probably not. I'd probably price this at $10. So we got $32 retail here. Oftentimes I see Jimmy Olsen like this, and in a collection it's clearly the most untouched, and that's because Jimmy Olsen wasn't as popular, so it wasn't as reread. That's actually decent condition. A 12-center book in decent condition. Typically I try to sell this stuff at like $10 if it's nice. So we got $42. And then we have a Superman 183. Not a key comic, but it does have a very small value. Something like this with a reader's crease, very obviously coming down the middle. People do like the giant size special. I would say $10 on this might be about right. The reader's crease does go through it all. What year is that? 66? Yeah. Okay. I'll probably do like $8 on that just to round us up to 50 there. Unfortunately, we're going back to kind of lower grade here. We've got some pop staples. We've got some roughness here, and it is a non-key. Probably $5 on that book, so 55. And this one's actually nice comparatively speaking. So we got Superman 184. It's an under 200 issue. It is a 12 center, Silver Age. I'll need to get it bagged and boarded, maybe run a quick press on it just to help with that spine roll. But that actually could be like a $12 book, maybe 15. Play it safe, I'll probably call it at 10, so we got 65 bucks. We do have a Wonder Woman. I don't immediately recognize it, but that doesn't mean it's not a key. We're looking at 145, and it looks like it's not a key. All right, so 12-cent Wonder Woman files right into that probably like $10 pocket there. Popular titles like that typically go for higher, but at Mint Hunter Comics, I usually price on the side where you want people to feel like they're getting a good deal. So I usually do that stuff for 10 bucks. And again, looks like I'm going to have to do a little pressing. So a little bit of time's going to have to go into this, I see. Then we got Detective Comics. Detective Comics ain't so bad. We got 305 here. Not a key, but you know what? It is Detective. Detective is a different animal. I actually think it's not even as nice a condition as some of these other books. But because it's a detective, you'd be hard-pressed to ever find them in any condition under 20 bucks. This one could maybe go all the way to 20. I think more realistically, I'd put 15 on there. Now, this one is an interesting one. Action Comics 309. That is actually, I think it's supposed to be JFK hidden in a mask right there. So it's a cool issue because this issue actually came out right after his death. So it's got a little controversy, I guess you would say, around it. It doesn't do wonders for the value. It's not a wildly valuable book, but actually it could be our most expensive book yet. That actually could go for maybe about 30 bucks. Why don't we just skip around and we just round this pile up to about $100 retail? This is not what I'm offering him. This is what it's going to be, I hope to get out of it so far, is $100. We got an Action Comics 330. Luckily, I already know about this book because I just did a big Superman sale. This is not a key, but it's actually pretty decent. Again, we got another Action Comics. It's a 12 center, typical condition that you'd find them in. Actually, maybe even a little nicer. I already know I'd put $10 on that. Maybe 12 if I was feeling greedy, but that extra $2 isn't going to save me here. So we're at 110 bucks. That may be the second appearance of Mara. Let me go run and check that out. It is not, folks. We're striking out when it comes to keys today. But, you know, finding keys is very difficult. And this walked in the shop. I didn't have to do any work for it. People do like Aquaman, though. Interestingly, Aquaman beats out Action Comics and Wonder Woman and some of those. So even in this condition, believe it or not, they will typically go $15 to $20, even looking like this. So I'd probably call it 15. Now, this is a classic cover, if you will. This is a well-known one, Monster Giant Batman cover. And luckily, I don't have to run at the computer because I just sold a couple of these recently, so I already know. This is one that in this condition, I see some staining. I see some issues on it. I see some funkiness. We've got some oddness on the back. It's not fantastic, but you know what? It is what it is. This, believe it or not, I could probably get $20 like that. I've also got, as it looks like our last book, a detective that I don't immediately recognize. It's issue 320. I'm going to look it up. All right, folks, it is not a key. So we've got a cool looking cover. Once again, it's a detective, and even though it's lower grade, it is a Detective Comics. These, you'll never see them below a 20, so I'd probably put it at 20 bucks. Best case scenario, if everyone were to buy these after I did the clean and press, after I did everything I can, which there is a certain time component to that. Best case scenario, 165. More realistically, after cutting deals and things, I'm probably going to be at like 120, maybe 120 bucks. So let's go ahead and give them a call. We've got 120 bucks. I'm going to give him somewhat closer to that than I normally would because, after all, he walked into the shop. I'm not driving 2 hours to get this pile. So my time component isn't as much as it sometimes will be. So I am actually going to give him about 60% of what this pile goes for. This is a figure often considerably higher than what comic shops will pay, but I know my audience. I know Silver and DC stuff flies off the shelf, so I think that I can sell this reasonably fast, which is why I'm going to do 60%. Keep in mind the standard rate for comic shops paying for this stuff is often starting at 5 or 10 cents per book. I know for a fact that a lot of comic book shops, if this box were to be brought in, those people would be leaving with 10, 20 bucks in their pocket. We're going to make it a little better for them. I'm going to give the call and I'll be right back. All right, folks, you are looking at a sold pile here. I offered $60 on this. They countered at $75, and I'm not going to bicker over something like that. So sure. So sold $75 right here. Am I going to make tons of money? No, I'm probably going to make 50 bucks. But you know what? For a small shoebox, really all I got to do is pop them in a bag and board. If I want to go the extra mile, I can do a press just to make them a little bit more presentable before I sell them. Other than that, sure, why not? I'll do a quick, easy, make 50 bucks on this. Just wanted to show you guys how I typically do it for a walk-in like this. And remember that I'm here every Wednesday, so if you ever have anything you want to sell, come in, talk comics with me, bring your stuff, I'll make an offer. I will see you at the next video, and keep on hunting. Make sure to come down to Sentiment Depot Antiques and Collectibles, where I'm set up with all of my comics, located at 238 West Delaware Ave, Pennington, New Jersey. Open every day except for Monday and Tuesday. Enjoy 10% off from Wednesday to Friday. See you there.